How to understand Western democratic elections. In the Western world and some colonial groups, we often hear a saying that all our citizens have the right to vote, to choose their own president. Do you have? I observed that some proletarian fighters have a pale answer to this question. So I made this video to provide these warriors at the forefront of public opinion, to provide a reference answer. To answer this question, we need to first understand how the Western democratic electoral system works. Let's look at a set of data. The U.S. presidential system. The president needs more than 270, over half of Japan's parliamentary constitutional monarchy. The House of Representatives has more than or equal to 233 votes. France's semi-presidential system. The president needs more than 50% in the first round. Parliamentary Republic of Germany. The president's first round of the Federal Assembly is more than parliamentary constitutional monarchy in the UK. Majority in the House of Commons. The leader of the majority party is appointed by the king. Parliamentary Republic of Italy. The fourth round is more than or equal to 50%. The prime minister is nominated by the president. These are the rules of Western democratic elections. From this data, we can clearly see a sharp problem. A majority is enough. Germany is more rigorous in this regard, at 67%. So what does this data mean? It means that the majority has the dictatorship over the minority. Because in this multi-party system competition, both or multiple parties, each representing their own interests and political purposes. If one side wins, the other side, the losing side will be forced to accept all the rules of the winner. Is this democracy or autocracy? So the end result is that the losing side has 100% voting rights, but only has 0 voting rights. Even if the policies and practices of the winner are excessive and cannot interfere. Is this democracy or majority dictatorship? This analysis may be, don't understand. Let's take a simple practical example. Trump's election to illustrate. During the 2025 U.S. presidential election, the voter profile is as follows. 1. White, including men and women, about 30%. Second, low income, less than $50,000 a year. Blue collar, workers. 3. The industry of voters, energy and resources, oil and gas, manufacturing and construction, automobiles, steel, machinery, manufacturing, traditional retail and catering, small retailers, chain restaurants. From this voter composition, we can see that Trump actually represents the interests of energy oligarchs, manufacturing giants, and construction giants, while Biden represents efficiency, science and technology, media, entertainment, medical, legal, renewable energy, and finance industries. By the way, the Venezuelan incident is exactly in Trump's support system. The extreme event demanded by the energy oligarchs, in other words, but also a new battlefield for Trump's European energy. I predict a new round of Middle East war is not far. Because the oil export chain in the Middle East is destroyed, Europe can only buy oil resources from the US. Let's wait and see. From the crowd that supports Trump, we can see that the so-called election is just for their own industry. Trump promised to revitalize the auto industry, increase the wages of auto workers, and let energy oligarchs make more money. These are all legitimate, but everything is afraid of. But American agriculture, ordinary commercial banks, media, entertainment, universities, scientific research, medical care, renewable energy will face suppression and reduced investment. Then the employees in these industries will not receive the care and preferential policies. Now, do you have a general understanding of the essence of voting? Voters vote, in fact, is only for their own immediate interests. If this candidate is expected to bring benefits to them, then they will vote for him. If he doesn't bring benefits, I won't vote for him. This logic seems reasonable, but it just shows that capitalist democratic voting is hypocritical. Why is it hypocritical? Because they only think about their own interests, and the lives of others can be completely ignored. Is this democracy or selfishness? In my opinion, the Western democratic system and voting system is a naked confrontation of interest groups. Has nothing to do with true democracy, because democracy has always benefited the vast majority of people, the will and interests of, not the interests of one half of the people and the other. But why do Western people, why are they so obsessed with this kind of interest confrontation? Because the power of capitalist public opinion is really too powerful. It makes people think this way is right. Simply put, every 3 to 5 years, they will change the leader they think is right. It's a kind of expectation. The president in these 4 years is not my favorite, but the next 4 years may be. This is the simplest and most pathetic part of humanity. There is always a so-called hope waiting for you. When your hope becomes reality, you can party for a while, but soon you will find that this hope does not bring you true hope. So you look forward to the next vote will bring you hope. This trick goes on year after year, and you are also a participant year after year until you die. You may realize you live in a democratic voting scam. So Western democratic voting, in fact, is a very subtle class division trick. Its essence is to use the most straightforward interests to provoke opposition between people, thus forming a barrier between classes, to achieve the goal of tearing the whole society apart. When people from different industries, groups, and races have different interests, there will be no common interests for the entire ruling class. It cannot have any substantial impact. Simply put, is to disintegrate the unified demands from within society. It satisfies the interests of some people each time, after a few years, and then satisfy the interests of another part of people, thus forming the so-called self-entertainment of democratic voting. Democracy must benefit the interests of the vast majority, rather than only taking care of some interests and ignore the interests of other groups. Similarly, it is also to achieve a comprehensive and progressive goal. Capitalism cannot achieve this.